Welcome to How I Unfucked My Life. I'm your host, Christine DeGrazia, registered nurse and founder of Calm by Intention. On this show, we bridge the gap between mindset and physiology. We're combining the raw grit it takes to change your life with the clinical science it takes to regulate your nervous system, because it takes more than just mindset to calm a body in survival mode. Let's get into today's episode. Hey everyone, welcome back to How I Unfucked My Life. I'm your host Christine, and today we need to talk about them. You know who I mean. The person who seems to have it all together. The perfect vacation, the perfect body, the perfect house, the perfect relationship. The guy with the corner office and the car and the life that looks like everything you're supposed to want. You've been measuring yourself against them for a long time, and it's costing you way more than you think. Here's the thing though. They're not real. And today I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that. So let me just say it straight. You're not comparing yourself to a real person. I mean, they're physically real, but you're comparing yourself to a performance. A carefully constructed highlight reel that was filtered and framed and edited before it ever hit your screen. Nobody is posting the fight they had right before the perfect family photo. And nobody's posting the credit card statement from the dream vacation. Nobody's posting the nights they cried alone or the stuff that is quietly falling apart behind closed doors. You're only seeing the angle they choose to show you. And you're taking that angle as the whole truth. Behind that perfect vacation could be $500,000 in debt. Behind that perfect body could be someone who hasn't eaten a real meal in months. Behind that perfect marriage could be two people who haven't had a real conversation in years. And behind that corner office could be someone working 80 hours a week and falling apart inside. You don't know. You never know. And you never will. Because you're not seeing their life. You're seeing their highlight reel. And here's the most important thing I'm going to say. You are comparing your entire real, messy, behind-the-scenes life to someone else's carefully edited best moments. Well, that's not a fair fight. That was never a fair fight. The scale was tipped before you even stepped on it. And this is where it gets serious, because comparison is not just making you feel bad in the moment. It's doing something much deeper than that. Every time you measure yourself against that highlight reel and come up short, you're chipping away at your own confidence, your own self-worth, your own belief that you're capable and enough and worthy of a good life. Drip by drip, scroll by scroll, that quiet little voice gets louder. What am I doing wrong? Why can't I figure this out? Everyone else seems to have it together. Why don't I? And after a while, you start to believe it. You carry it around with you everywhere, that low-grade feeling of being behind, of being less than, of somehow failing at your own life. But you were never failing. You were just measuring yourself against something that wasn't real. And failing a rigged test over and over made you believe something about yourself that simply is not true. And here's the other side of this that nobody really mentions. Because it's not just that we compare ourselves to them. A lot of us are also performing for them. Making choices based on what they might think, editing ourselves, shrinking ourselves, staying in situations that don't serve us because of what imaginary audiences might say if we left. We're living our lives for people who are not even real. How many decisions have you made or not made because of what someone might think? Not what was actually said, not what they actually did, but what they might think. Who appointed them judge anyway? Who gave them that kind of power over your choices? Well, you did. But the good news is, you can take it back. So let me flip this completely, because here's what you've been missing while you were busy staring at someone else's highlight reel. And that is your own. You have a real life with real moments and real people and real joy that no filter could ever capture. The moments that did not make anyone's feed because they were too genuine, too ordinary, too quietly beautiful to perform for an audience. I have grandkids who come over and love to play in my yard. I have an absolutely amazing family. I have people in my life who show up for me and I show up for them. I have a life that is imperfect and messy and completely mine. And it's perfect in its own way. Not because everything is great all the time, but because it's real. Because nobody had to filter it to make it worth something. And you have that too. Maybe it looks different, but it's there. And it deserves your attention way more than someone else's carefully constructed fiction does. Perfection is the illusion you've been chasing. And nobody, not even the person with the perfect Instagram, actually has it. Everyone's life is messy. Everyone is figuring it out as they go. The only difference is what they choose to show you. So how do you break the habit? Well, first, catch yourself. Notice when you're scrolling with that energy, that quiet, what am I doing wrong feeling. Just name it. Oh, there it is again. Because you cannot change what you cannot see. And second, remind yourself what you're actually looking at. A performance, an angle, not someone's whole life. Say it out loud if you have to. This is not their reality. This is what they chose to show me. And third, come back to your own life. What is real and good and yours right now? Because I guarantee you there is something, and it deserves your presence way more than their highlight reel does. And fourth, curate ruthlessly. If there's are accounts that are constantly making you feel like you're not enough, unfollow them. You do not owe anyone your mental health. Your feed should add to your life's quality, not dismantle it. Now, again, they are not real, and they never were. They are a fiction you built out of other people's best moments and your own insecurities. And they've been living in your head rent-free for way too long, taking up space that belongs to you. So evict them today. Because while you've been busy measuring yourself against someone or something that doesn't exist, your actual life has been happening. Real and imperfect and completely yours. And it's worth showing up for. Trust me. So thanks for listening to How I Unfucked My Life. If this one hit home, share it with somebody who needs it. Give me a like and a follow so you don't miss the next episode, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening to How I Unfucked My Life. I know the work is heavy, but remember, you aren't just fighting your brain, you're learning to lead your body. You have the grit to change your mindset, and you have the biology to find your peace. And every choice you make is a step towards the life that you deserve. So stop arguing with where you've been and start deciding where you're going. See you next time.